So I was gifted some pod lights for Christmas and I want to mount them to my FJ Cruiser, but I need some mounting brackets to use them for ditch lights. So after scouring the internet and looking at all the different varieties and the designs specifically for the FJ Cruiser, I've decided to go with the one with the worst possible reviews, the cheapest ones, the fastest delivery. Yes, I'm talking about the ones from Amazon. I mean, how bad could they possibly be?
2 days later.
All right, so now that the parts have arrived, let's get to that install.
The parts for this install are as follows: 100-watt 3-inch pod lights, custom FJ mounting brackets and hardware, OEM style rocker switch for the dash, an antenna boot or a plug if you're planning on removing the radio antenna, trim prying tools to protect the paint, wiring harness, wire stripper or crimpers, and some electrical tape, socket wrench with various size sockets, washers or spacers, trim clips for the cowl because you will break some zip ties, and maybe a Dremel tool. Before starting any project on your car, especially ones involving power, it's always a good idea to unplug the negative terminal of your battery. This is for your safety and preserving the life of the battery in the event that you drain it with the door open for too long. Now it's time to pry off the cowls with the trim tools. Honestly, there's no easy way to do this, as you can see, but what I've found to work the best is to have the mindset that you are going to break the clips on whatever trim piece you're removing, and that's okay because you already bought the replacements, right? Then it's just a matter of applying force and letting the tools do all the work until the trim piece and, in this case, the cowl pops right off. Now, there are 4 total clips here, 2 triangular ones at the top and 2 smaller ones, more traditional, on the bottom. Of course, the passenger side cowl is more complicated because you have to remove the radio antenna and the rubber antenna boot. If you have had your antenna boot for a while, it may just fall apart being so dried out. Once the antenna and the boot have been removed, the cowl can be removed in the same manner as the driver's side. Work your way around prying and popping clips until you can lift off the trim piece. And I didn't break any this time. Hooray! Okay, freeze, because next it is imperative that you remove the hood struts. If you start unscrewing the bolts on the hood bracket, which is where the light mounting brackets attach, the hood struts will actually shift the hood bracket, as you can see here, and it's going to make it so difficult to realign the mounting bolts. So just take a flathead screwdriver and twist the head of the hood strut to loosen it and remove it. Make sure your hood support is in place prior to removing the strut. It's also a good idea to remove any trim clips from the fender and the cowl trim pieces so that way you can test the fitment throughout your project. The mounting bracket for the ditch lights will also attach to the hood bracket and snake its way up and around the trim clip slots and over the cowl, theoretically. The shape of this mount is also designed to clear the hood stop mechanism so the hood can still function properly. Hopefully, when I remove the hood bracket bolts, which will be used to attach the light bracket, everything will line up perfectly and no adjustments, cuts, or additional hardware will be needed. I used a 12mm socket to remove the hood bracket bolts and it doesn't fit. The bracket lines up perfectly to the hood bracket, but as it snakes up past the trim clip slots, it bumps the clip slot on the right, preventing a flush fit. So, option 1, cut the mount with the Dremel tool to snake around the trim clip slot a little better, or option 2, head to the hardware store for some spacers and new bolts. Option 2 it is, in case I need to return the mounting brackets. So I went to the hardware store and picked up 4 spacers and 4 new, longer bolts. The spacers and bolts are both stainless steel, I hope, and the spacers are a 1/2 inch thick. The spacers fit perfectly sandwiched between the ditch light mounting bracket and the hood bracket. Using a 13mm socket, I tightened down the new 2-inch bolts and further hand tightened them with the socket wrench. With the 1/2 inch spacers in, the mounting bracket is going to sit a 1/2 inch higher than intended. I know, shocker, math. Also, before buttoning up the cowl, I made sure that all the wires and hoses are tucked away from being crimped by the hood when it opens and closes. So now it's time to prepare for the reattachment of the cowl trim piece. So I pop back in the unbroken trim clips to the cowl, along with some new ones. However, you will need to bend down this tab in order for the cowl to fit in the bracket. Don't worry, it's easy. I did it with my bare hands. But before you snap the cowl back in place, you need to prep your lights. I'm going to be running these 3-inch 100-watt pod lights that I got from Amazon. What I liked about these lights was that the mounting bracket fit inside the housing for a cleaner look. The lights came with all the hardware needed to insert the bracket into the housing and tighten down each with an Allen bolt with the provided wrench. So, in order to run the wire from the lights under the hood, the cowl has to be off, unlike what you see here. So, make life easier, grab a wire coat hanger or something similar, and use some electrical tape to attach the wires to the hanger to assist in fishing through the tight squeezes of the hood. Once you have fished the wire through the hood and have it out of the way of any hinges, it's time to reattach the cowl. Noting any areas where the wire may be getting crimped, and then snug the antenna boot back on the antenna base. Now it's time to add the FJ logo metal trim piece to the mounting bracket. This must be done at the same time as mounting the pod light because it will use the same hardware of a bolt, locking nut, washer, and a hex nut to mount the pod light and the FJ trim piece. Then just screw the antenna back into place.
So we've got another little issue. The wiring harness that I have is not quite long enough to stretch from here all the way to the other light on each of the cowls. So I have to make a couple modifications. So let me kind of show you what we had to do.
Here's the entire wiring harness, and I've got it laid out like it would be under the hood. Down here at the bottom is the fuse, relay, and power terminals for the battery. Moving up along the fender wall will be the switch wire that will go through the firewall and into the cab. And right here in the middle is the section that will connect the two lights on either side of the hood. You can see where I had to do a little nip and tug to extend the wires to stretch about 5 feet across the hood to be able to connect the two lights together. So now it's a good idea to stretch out the harness from the battery to each light to get a better idea of how the harness will fit under the hood. The wire harness came with a set of 4 water-resistant male and female spade connectors to use when connecting the lights to the harness. This is a pretty simple job. Just strip the wires back a tad, slide the spade connectors on, crimp them down, and heat shrink for a more reliable connection. I also went over the connections with electrical tape. I went ahead and started to remove the slack from the wire harness on the passenger side so that there were not any dangly bits hanging out. This also helped with knowing how much wire I had to work with on the driver's side. And speaking of the driver's side, I basically did the same exact thing with regards to connecting the terminals to the wires from the lights and the harness. However, you have to make sure that you route the wires around the inside of the strut. Otherwise, when the hood closes, your wires will get pinched and your hood might not shut properly. From here, I just followed this cable bundle of other accessories down to the battery where the relay, fuse, and the power connectors were. But before I attached the harness to the power, I needed to route the switch cable through the firewall. So I attached our trusty coat hanger wire to the switch cord. I then located the firewall grommet and poked the close hanger wire through the hole already made by some other wires. On the inside of the cab, you can see where the coat hanger came through the firewall grommet. From here, it is just a matter of pulling the coat hanger wire until the switch cable appears through the grommet. Now we need to remove the electrical tape and attach the switch. Speaking of the switch, this is the switch that came with the wire harness, but I decided to go with a more OEM model like this push button style switch that fits perfectly in the dash console. This switch also has a wiring schematic on the back that is super helpful and instructs you on the proper way to connect each wire. I'm only going to be using 3 of the 4 wires on the switch because I don't want the LED backlight to be on when the switch is off. I am going to be putting this switch right next to another one that controls the light bar on the roof. You can see the open spot here, right next to the steering wheel. To remove the switch placeholder, simply open the fuse panel door and reach up behind the dash and push out the dummy switch. This one hit me in the face, so be careful. To wire up the switch, you need to unclip the green connector from the actual switch housing, strip back the wires, and connect them according to the schematic. Solder or butt connectors can be used to connect the wires for a better connection than the electrical tape that I used here. From here, you just route the switch wire behind the fuse panel up to the slot on the dash and out the switch hole. After that, you just plug in the green connector to the switch housing and push the switch into the slot until it clicks snugly into place. So back under the hood, you need to reconnect the switch wire running through the firewall to the rest of the wire harness, which will run directly to the battery. Then, after tucking and zip tying the switch wiring to the fender wall, it's finally time to connect the positive and negative ring terminals of the wire harness to the battery. Yes, I know my battery terminals look terrible, and they will be addressed in a future video. But for now, I'm going to temporarily attach these oversized ring terminals to whatever will hold them in place.
All right, moment of truth. So, final thoughts. Do I love the cowlights? No. Do I like them? Yeah, I like them. I think they're going to work great for what I need them for, which is just a little bit extra light. What I don't like or love about them is the fact that they do sit up a little bit. I wish the Chinese could have just done a better job of copying the original ones, but you know what they say at the end of the day. You get what you pay for, and it got here in 2 days. They were under $30. And I had to buy a couple extra pieces of hardware, and they're not perfect, but that's kind of the mentality that I'm going to be taking with this build. Do what I want to do, not what anybody in a forum or Reddit or wherever says what's the right way to do it. So with all that said, thank you so much for watching me rig my ride for my adventure, one mod at a time.